Wrestling Roundup was saddened to learn this week of the passing of ECW legend Sabu. To mark this occasion, we will be beginning the show with a 10-bell salute. Hey, listen to Wrestling Up on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Discord we got Josh.
Hey!
Backlash this past weekend. Let's take a look at the 5 matches we had. The opening one was for the United States Championship. Jacob Fatu taking on LA Knight, Damian Priest, and Drew McIntyre in a fatal 4-way match, and as we expected, walking away still with that championship.
Yeah, wasn't exactly expecting to see a continuation of the judgment of the Bloodline story that we thought was like dusted off. But we saw a debut of a Samoan that was not Hikuleo.
Yeah, Jeff Cobb, heavily rumored to be signed after being in New Japan, and coming on over to WWE and instantly being tracked straight into that Bloodline storyline. I think from my double checking, he might be Hawaiian, but yeah, it's a little confusing if they still do have Hikuleo in the wings. I don't know what is up with him, but it does appear as though we are getting Bloodline 3.0. You know, Jacob Fatu didn't look particularly happy that he, I wouldn't say he was replaced by, but there's a person in the Bloodline who fills a very similar void to him.
Very possible. We've heard like smatterings of like the fans getting behind Fatu. It is entirely possible they may be getting ready to jettison him off to do his own thing, and that's the reason for a quote unquote replacement.
Mm.
I don't know. It's weird. It's just especially weird that we got Jeff Cobb before, and we still haven't seen at any level Hikuleo. And we know that he's been signed by them. So it's really, really weird on this.
Yeah, even if, like, he's a little bit green or he needed some work, I would have expected him to show up on NXT and at least be doing some things, right? Like, Solo Sikoa was on NXT for a little bit, polish him up, send him up. There's no reason we don't have Hikuleo appearing on NXT, even if you don't want to acknowledge that he is the brother of the Tongans. You could just, do something with him rather than seemingly, as far as it looks like from the outside, just sitting on his contract.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. Yeah, you definitely could do it like they did with Solo himself when because they had him in Eddie, but never acknowledged the fact that he was part of the Bloodline until he debuted at Clash at the Castle.
So yeah, I don't quite know where we're going with it. It does feel as though the Tongans were a little bit more loyal to Fatu than they were potentially with Solo. I know we've completely spun Reigns and the Usos off, maybe Solo's gonna build something. Maybe Fatu and the Tongans pick up Hikuleo, bring it to 4. I don't know. It does feel as though the big epic Bloodline storyline that I was following and I loved has come to its conclusion, and then this is sort of an epilogue where they're trying to light the spark back, but all I'm really caring about is Jacob Fatu at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a feeling on it for sure.
Well, the next match, not the outcome we expected. Women's Intercontinental Championship was on the line. We were all but sure Becky Lynch coming out on top, and it was Lyra Valkyria who actually retained her championship.
How did I say Lyra would win the match, though, if she did?
True.
With the most powerfulest move in all of wrestling, the roll-up. Phenomenal match, by the way. And I'm going to tie this into the Raw here as well.
Yeah, go nuts.
The promo that Becky did. She was 100%. It was another one of those cases where the heel says no lies. Because she said Lyra is more important, a bigger star today than she was prior to the match, and she's 1,000% correct. That made Lyra 1,000%, and this feud is not over. Also, Becky basically said, "You think I'm going to be Becky Hogan? I'm going to show you what that actually means." We're getting ready for a extreme heel Becky Lynch, something we've never seen before. I feel.
You think Lyra's days as champion are still numbered? Do you think that
Yeah,
the
I
end
do.
goal is still Becky?
I do, but at the same time, they made her a bigger star just by putting her over Becky at once. And maybe this would be like the beginning of like getting Lyra ready for a main run with the main title of some kind.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see what the future holds. We also do have a Bayley in the wings that could potentially play into this, but we'll see how it all develops. Intercontinental Championship for the men, though. Penta, Dominic, Mysterio. It was Dominic that picks up the win, but Penta sure isn't done with the Judgment Day.
You know, there's so many moving parts with this. Besides just these two men, you have the entire Judgment Day, the seemingly like disconnect between Dominic and Finn, Penta dealing with Judgment Day, Penta dealing with he who is not quote unquote Chad Gable, but is actually Chad Gable, El Grande Americano. This is so much fun. I'm loving this. I think they're making Dominic even stronger of a potential babyface through this. I really think he'll be a good guy when he comes out, when he gets to the other side of everything, and we get the eventual crash between him and Finn. He questioned Finn's like integrity during the match with like questioning whether he used a chair or not, or being like not, or maybe not question, but like hesitating to use it. And during Finn's match on Raw, Dominic Mysterio was nowhere to be found. He was not in the same zip code or time zone.
Yeah, if he could ever figure out time zones.
Interesting.
Yeah, it seems as though, like, we keep sitting here, we keep saying that the Judgment Day are going to explode, potentially Penta's going to pick up an Intercontinental Championship, and there keeps being the opportunities for it, and they keep not taking them. And that's making me intrigued of what we're waiting for, or what particular set of circumstances we want to explode in what order, right? If Dominic is going to make a mega face turn coming out of this explosion, we may need to wrap up some of the Liv Morgan stuff ahead of time, because I don't know if Dominic can turn the entirety of Liv and Raquel with him, or if he has to detach to really go up into the stratosphere where we think he may end up. And so maybe her going off to film delays us a little bit. But yeah, Penta is being used all over the place. I'm loving the matches he's having, whether it's with Chad Gable on Raw, whether it's Dominic here. Every minute or every second he's given, he is doing something with, for sure. Well, we got Pat McAfee, Gunther, 14 minutes. Longer than I thought Pat would last.
Phenomenal match. Phenomenal story. The whole match and story around it was so good. Having Michael Cole leave commentary to try to help Pat. So good. And having Michael Cole, the ultimate commentator, say, I'm not going to be biased. I'm biased. I'm going to be biased. I'm going to be rooting for Pat. I think this was just like the chef's kiss for his career at the end here. Because I love Michael Cole. He's been so good for so long, and he didn't get any appreciation because he replaced Jim Ross. So and here at the end, after Vince is gone, everybody starts realizing just how good he actually is. And then you have Gunther, who's just a phenomenal wrestler. You can't really say much more. It's just, he's so good. And apparently he has a number one contendership match lined up after Saturday Night Main Event, which I hate. Gives you how that match is going to play out.
Yeah, there's so many options, right? We said, what are they going to do with Gunther when he comes out of this? A good little stalling feud. And as you say, gave Pat McAfee a moment. I think, yeah, the emotional through line with Michael Cole works really well. And then, yeah, Gunther goes on. He's going to get himself a championship match against either Jay or Logan. And it'll, I don't know. I don't know. There's a few options up there, right? What are they going to do with that World Heavyweight Championship? Are they going to switch it at Saturday Night Main Event? Are they going to just default back to Gunther? Do they want to give Logan a run, unfortunately? Or do they just want a quick little transitional thing while we have a Money in the Bank cash in? So many different variables floating around that World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah. The match, title match is going to happen on the Raw after Money in the Bank. Not Money in the Bank, the Raw after it. So that does start to make your the cogs turn. We'll have to see who wins the briefcase. That's going to be a major tell on who's going to actually be cashed in on. And how long do you expect that it will be cashed in on? But it could very possibly last 2 days.
Yeah.
So
we will see John Cena, Randy Orton, last match on the Backlash card. Almost 30 minutes for the WWE Championship, with John Cena coming out on top one last time.
This match, I think, was pretty much a love letter to the entire feud that they ever had. Pretty much everything that you could throw into it that they've done in the past, they've done in this match. You kind of knew Cena wasn't losing here. And we'll have to see where they go with Cena, where they go with Orton. But I'm pretty happy with what they did in this match.
Yeah, it feels kind of like you'd hope or want a last match of a feud ever to be, as you said, full of comebacks, callbacks, and long, but not long in the way that I'm sitting there going, oh my god, can this please end? Loved it, and sad to see that we'll never get another Orton John Cena match. But there's still, I don't know how many appearances John Cena had. I haven't been keeping tally. But there's a few more matches around, and based on what we saw in the closing minutes of the match and also in the post-show press conference, um, a certain someone had their heart broken. Their childhood hero just absolutely destroyed them.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. That's going to be a fun match. Uh, if we do get that, and it sounds pretty likely that we will get that at Saturday night's main event. I don't see it going even half as long as this match did.
It
I
ain't going
love
30
Cena.
minutes.
I love Cena. I love R-Truth, but I don't see them going that long. Uh, I think 12, 13 minutes. I think that'll be a fair match. Um,
Yeah, I could see it even potentially only running like 10. I imagine the point is to just get John Cena over as this real big D bag that you hate, because the one person who was still supporting him, no matter what, he just beats the HE double hockey sticks out of. Um, yeah, it makes sense to see. It'll sort of be that like peak of heel, and then you have a couple months at that, and then maybe we start softening up or transitioning towards where we want to go down the line. But Cena R-Truth's a good match. I'm happy to use one of our appearances, one of our dates on it for sure.
yeah. I mean, when we were talking about potential heel turns and things for Cena before WrestleMania, and before Elimination Chamber, we said one thing they got to do is have him destroy R-Truth, because I think that would get him the maximum amount of heat possible. We can do that at Saturday night's main event.
Makes a whole lot of sense. Well, it is slightly over halfway through the show, but we are finished with Backlash, and that means it is time to play our entrance theme of the week, and still Women's Intercontinental Champion, Lyra Valkyria. As you wait for us around upon FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR, Raw and SmackDown, outside of what happened on Backlash, obviously with only 5 matches or 5 storylines coming to their conclusion, there was heaps more building, and we are still looking at Saturday Night Main Event as well as that card begins to take shape. I don't know, where do you want to start on this one? We got a return from Alexa Bliss on SmackDown without the Wyatt Six, just showing up, helping out Zelina Vega and taking out Green and Niven.
Yeah, she still had the Sister Abigail finish.
That's true.
But I don't know. Um, it was fun. I hope Zelina breaks off from Chelsea and Piper soon. But it was fun seeing her get her moment back and stuff. But let's get some use out of Alexa. Let's not have her disappear for another 4 months
Yeah.
after this. Um,
100%. I think the Women's United States title has had quite a sticky to it, right? Chelsea Green, obviously inaugural champion, and then we had Mia Yim, going against her many times, and then BFAB jumping on in as well, sort of partnering with Michin and going against her. Then Zelina Vega comes in, gets a couple shots, gets the title. Now Chelsea Green's still hovering around that scene. And so with Alexa Bliss being involved in it, even if this was seemingly random of a return, maybe Alexa Bliss is going to set her sights on the United States Championship, same way we said Becky Lynch winning the Intercontinental could bring up that title. Maybe Bliss running with the US title is something that we're going to see.
well, I will say this: during the entrance, you could see a subtle look from Bliss at the title. That could be a little hint. After all, you have to, with the way things have been done in the WWE for the last 3 years, you have to meticulously examine every little thing in the background, in looks and stuff, to get the whole picture.
Yeah. And sometimes you just gotta look straight on into the foreground as Charlotte Flair has a bit of a confrontation with Jade Cargill. Eyeing up that potential match. I think the list of Jade Cargill matches is through the roof. But ultimately, as you'd expected, I thought maybe a fatal four way. We are instead gonna get Nia Jax as the number one contender for that women's championship.
Yeah, is. So I've been saying I think that makes the most sense. It gets her out of the way, gets gets that moved on, and then we can move on to Tiffany Stratton's next opponent. Um, but I think it'll be a fun match. I like Tiffy. I like Nia. I think it'll be a fun match.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what they'll do with Cargill and Naomi if we're just going to stall them out a little bit longer, or part of the point of having the Fatal Four Way was just to throw a couple of different feuds together and progress them both. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Cargill Naomi feud and how long that continues through. But in terms of something that is fresh and new, that would be Fraxium on the SmackDown roster, making an impact, multiple impacts against the tag team division, and their latest one was against the champions. Non-title match, but still against the champions.
Yeah, it's the oldest playbook play in the playbook that WWE has for tag teams. And that is a new tag team comes in and beats the reigning champions and gets a number one contender match. And that's what we're getting. I think we're going to get a full blown match. Maybe not maybe at Money in the Bank, because I don't think I don't think it would be a match that would go on Saturday night's main event. And maybe we get like a 15-20 minute match, and they can tear the house down at that event. I don't think Fraction beats Street Profits, but I wouldn't be shocked with it.
And nor would I. I could definitely see it. I think it all comes down to what you want to do with both of them in the future. Street Profits, obviously, relatively new champions. Not the newest, but Fraxium are the hot new thing coming up. They still have the split storyline with Fraxium that they haven't pulled off. Will they capture main roster tag team gold before they do that? Are we just going to forget that they were so close to splitting on NXT? I don't know. Everything that comes out of the SmackDown tag team roster is great. Put them in any combination. Just give me tag team matches every week. That's all I want. Just draw some names out of a hat and have a couple SmackDown tag teams go head to head. Well, talking about SmackDown tag teams going head to head, I feel like I just set myself up there. Los Garza going in a losing effort against Rey Fenix and Andrade. They tried to attack Fenix earlier in the show and didn't really pay off for them, as Andrade and Fenix comes out and just absolutely trounces them, and Santos Escobar ain't too happy about it either.
Yeah. Can I say this? Rey Fenix team with anybody that's not his brother? Weird. But if there's going to be anybody, it's probably Andrade's probably like maybe draft pick number 2 behind the injured Rey Mysterio. So, hey, it got Andrade used. And who knows what they're going to do with Sando Escobar. It's like we were talking like 2 years ago, like this guy could be a major future, and nothing.
Yeah, it was such a bright sign, right? We said so many good things out of Santos. His NXT work was amazing, comes up to the main roster, and a whole lot of nothing. And I think so much was getting caught in this LWO feud that happened for like 2 years. We've spun off it and it hasn't quite changed, still with Los Garza, still just doing what he's doing. And so many other luchador talents have come through, and your Phoenixes, your Pentas, Andrade's come back, and to a point Los Garza even getting way more showcase than Santos Escobar is sort of just fading into the background a little bit as Santos.
Which may be why they did the whole him ripping into them. I think they may be getting ready to split Los Guerreros off of him, and maybe putting a lot of emphasis on the word maybe, because who knows, they do something with Escobar. Who knows? Maybe they'll shock us all and he'll be the Money in the Bank winner.
That would be a shock. Yeah, you got to start thinking about that, right? Money in the Bank on the horizon. Who's going to be in the match? Who's going to be the briefcase winner? And who's going to cash in within the first 2 weeks of winning? Because we can't have two people running around with the briefcase. But a lot to happen in the next few weeks. But we have run out of time for this week. It's been great talking to you.
Bye.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/wrestling R&D up, or our Twitter page first, twitter.com/wrestling R&D up, or our YouTube page, youtube.com/wrestling RND up. And we will catch you next week.